To get going, click on a map problem and look at its description up top, but note that the description might not always be fully accurate. As mentioned before, when you click on a map problem, the editor will show you three elements: the green line, the pink line, and A and B pins. But from that point, it's up to you to figure out the exact nature of the problem and how to solve it. The following are a few examples of common map problems you might encounter and how to fix them. Missing junction. In this case, the green line shows you that Waze has turned left at a point that the current map does not allow due to a missing connection. The system does not understand how Waze got from point A to B. To solve the problem, create the missing junction by connecting the road between segment A to the junction where segment B begins. Then check to make sure that the turn restrictions are correct and save your changes. Missing road segment. You'll see that the Waze drove along a route that has no representation on the map. However, looking at the aerial image together with the GPS points will usually reveal that there is a road there. Oftentimes, this is a missing highway exit. Add the missing segments between A and B. Check connectivity, define the correct type of the road, and try to define as many details as you can in the properties section, such as city, street, etc. Then make sure to save your changes. Wrong road directions. Waze seem to have driven against the known direction of a road on particular segments. Change the segment's direction to include the driving direction of the Waze, then save your work. Wrong turn restrictions. Waze seem to have turned against the known turn restrictions on a particular segment. Select the segment and change the turn restrictions from red to green, then click Save. Connectivity problem. The junction is divided into two separate parts, prohibiting a route from one part to the other. Join the two parts by pulling one junction point to the other until they sort of snap into one. Make sure that the allowed turns are correct and then save your work, as always. Acute angle. Sometimes in sharp angle junctions, the actual turn of the Waze is a bit different from the geometry of the segments on the map. This leads to a gap between the line of where users have driven and the map itself, and therefore, a map problem. Add a small connecting one-way segment along the route that the user actually drove. Misplaced junction. In this case, the line of where users have driven is turning left, even though according to the map, it's impossible. If you look closely, you'll see that the junction is inaccurately positioned, distorting all connected segments. By simply pulling the junction point to the correct point on the map, according to the line of where users have driven and the aerial image, you'll easily fix the problem. Don't forget to check connectivity and turn restrictions before you save your work. Parking lot. When a Waze drives inside a parking lot, it's a little tricky. Since Waze would not be able to match this drive to a known segment, a map problem is identified. Add a parking lot using the Add button on the toolbar. Proper naming is also important. If you like, you can also add the main inner roads of the lot. Just make sure you define them as parking lot roads. User-reported map problems. User-reported map problems are pretty varied, but the basic idea in solving these problems is understanding where the Waze came from, where they were headed, and what caused them to report the problem and drive in a different route than the one Waze provided. In this example, you can see that the driver continued to drive straight while the Waze route directed him to the left. In addition, the driver added a note reporting that the turn was not allowed. The obvious conclusion in this case is that the turn permission of this junction is wrong and needs to be corrected. Once a map editor changes the arrow from green to red, the problem will be solved. So, that's a brief overview of the Waze map editor. If you have any questions, feel free to consult other editors on the forum or write us your questions at waze.com/support. We're always happy to help. Happy editing, Wazers, and keep up the great work.